We're going to do this. All right, we alive. We are live. All right, so last time we talked about credit scores, how to get it, what to get, like kind of doing a little path on getting there. Today, we're going to talk about buying a house. You're like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the move right here. So I'm going to teach you like the basics of buying a house and actually literally how to do it. It'll be difficult if you're 18 because you won't have as, you'll understand here in a second. But once you kind of get going and you have a job for at least 2 years, it's going to be pretty much cake from there. And I'm going to teach you guys the little skills, the tricks, the tips, the plan on how to do it, especially before you have a whole bunch going on in your life. The best thing to do it is the earlier the better, of course. Just like credit, the earlier the better. Get your credit going, then you can get that. All right, cool. So I pulled up a couple things on, there's a website called Zillow. It's the big bad boy of everything. You know, you find houses for sale, apartments for rent, things of that nature.
That's actually real, like, it's works.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually meet people who own the house.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not mostly going to be the person who owns the house. It's like it's pulling data from the MLS. MLS is just a multi-listing service, which all the realtors and all that. That's where they plug the houses that they get under contract, and they put them under contract, and then that's how you see them. And they'll see like the realtor's name, like I don't know. I don't know, what's the Allstate or gosh, what's the big real estate people? Berkshire Hathaway. Anyways, real estate agents, you're going to see their names on the house. They're representing the seller. So somebody went to them to help sell their house because they don't have the marketing. They don't have the... But Zillow kind of helps you out with that if you wanted to sell your house on... Just take it to an agent, and then the agent will show the house, and you don't have to, you know, all that good stuff. No, you don't got to get phone calls random times at night and all that good stuff. Does that make sense? That's what agents really do it there for, is the middle guy, so you don't have to do the work. Then they charge you for it. Okay, cool. So we got our credit score. In this case, in buying a house, actually, the way that I'm going to teach it here is going to be through FHA. There's also another one that I highly recommend for most people. Is going to be NACA, and I'm going to tell you about that as well. So with FHA, this is the one that everybody knows about. It's the one that everybody usually starts with. It's your first-time home buyer mortgage lender. It's a federal program that all the banks use. So FHA doesn't mean like you only go to a certain bank to get it. You can go to any bank and then they offer it through them, if that makes sense. So it's essentially the federal government is backing you up as a client so that the bank will lend to you. So as long as you meet these guidelines that the federal government has set aside to say, hey, as long as they meet this, lend to them. And then if they, if they go bankrupt or whatever, we as the federal government will pay you. The bank is like saying like, hey, this is risk-free, right? Shoot, I'll hand it over. I'll give you the money because even if you go bankrupt on me, I'm still getting paid. So that's how they do it. So let me write that down real quick so you can kind of see it instead of me just saying it out loud. All right, so FHA, this is your federally backed loan program for mortgages. Anybody know what a mortgage is? What is a mortgage? What the heck is that in the first place? Go for it.
It's mortgage when...
That's all good? It's a loan from the bank. Yeah. So what's the difference in a loan? Why do they call one a mortgage and one a loan and one a note? What's a mortgage mean?
Monthly, like basically a payment.
Yeah, so a mortgage is anything above 15 years. So any loan that's out there amortized for over a 15-year period, that's a mortgage. Mort is like mortuary. It's supposed to be like a lifetime loan. So you're essentially, and then you're supposed to have a life insurance policy on that mortgage so that, it's paid off if you die. So you're holding it to the grave. So mortgage, mortuary, it's like kind of little thing. Because most people actually get like a 30-year or 40-year mortgage, which essentially means, hey, I'm staying here for the rest of my life. So I'm going to be paying on this house for the rest of my life. Mortgage, mortuary. Yeah. So that's how you think of it. Most loans, most mortgages, mortgage. Mortgage. I know it's not sounds like not how you're saying it. Mortgage is typically 30 years. It's a 30-year loan. And this is going to be what we call amortization, which just means that you're paying interest early, and then it fades off as it goes on. So let's say your mortgage is $1,500. This means amortized over a 30-year period. You're going to pay $1,500 for 30 years straight. It's the same payment, but they want to get some interest, so you're going to be getting like a 6.8% interest on that. And then this payment here, $1,500, is split into two things. One's called principal. I'm not going to spell it out. And the other is going to be the interest. INTEREST. So the interest itself is going to be higher in the beginning and then fades off as we get closer to the end of the actual mortgage itself. The principal is how much you're paying towards the actual loan itself. So let's see, 30-year mortgage, $1,500. It's probably like a $200,000 loan. So they gave you $200,000 for this home. This payment is going to be, let's say, $400. I put this over here. $400 is going to go towards the principal, and then you're paying $1,100 in interest every single month for the first year. So you say you got this, your first payment, the very first time you ever paid it, you have a loan, and your loan is now $1,996. So now, after the very first payment that you ever made, boom, you paid $1,500, but $1,100 of it went to the bank, and then $400 of it went to pay the loan. And that's how they get paid. So if you ever wonder, how does the bank get paid? Fun fact, does anybody know how, I literally said it though, how do banks work? And do they want to lend to you?
No.
Trick question, by the way. Because everybody thinks that instantly. You just said it. I said, do banks want to lend to you? And you instantly just said no.
Yes.
No.
Yes, because that's how they get your money.
That's the only way they make money.
And then they can charge you for it.
Banks don't make money any other way outside of giving out loans. There's like fees, and if they have cash in the bank from you having your big checking or whatever, and then they get overnight rates. This is how it's made. All right here. They have to give loans to make money. They want to give loans to make money. But if you're trash and you can't pay back your money, you can't pay back your credit, your debt, they're not going to lend to you. That's why most people can't get lent to, because they're not going to pay it back, or they've shown a history of not being able to pay back. Credit, remember that? Remember we just talked about it? Your credit score defines if you can pay it back. The higher credit score, the more they want to do this, the more they want to lend to you. Because they know you're going to do this. You're going to get them paid. Right? Go for it.
Do you have like a 600 credit score?
Mm-hmm.
How much can they loan to you?
600 is not great. I would say you're as far as credit cards are concerned, you're probably looking at like maybe a 2,000, maybe 2,500, 700 and up.
700 and up.
700 and up.
Okay, so what does it go to?
800, so between 8 and 850, the different bureau, whichever one. But yeah, the higher your credit score, the more they are willing to loan, because they know nobody can get there unless they are good. So when you start doing that, okay, so let's talk about that real quick so to get this loan, this FHA, that has certain eligibility requirements that are involved. So FHA, they have a couple of requirements. One is that you have 3.5% to down pay on this house, whatever it is. So as long as you can pay this straight up in cash, that's going to be the first requirement. So let's say it's a $100,000 house. Ooh, that was. What's 3.5% of that?
You're using what?
What's 3.5% of a $100,000 house? Darn math. See how this works? It's not that hard, but I'm gonna let you look it up. Are you looking it up right now, or am I just wasting my time? Okay. 100,000 times 0.035. 100,000 times 0.035. Internet's going wild right now. Suspense is real. 0.035. Yeah, because percentages are decimals over 2 points. So 0.035 times 100,000. 3,500. Right. So it's 3,500. As long as you have this in the bank, as long as you have $3,500 in a checking or savings account, you already are eligible, one part of the eligibility, of buying a $100,000 house.
What about a car?
Well, cars are a little different. Cars are usually based on credit score. They're a lot shorter. It's going to be a lot different. You can't buy a car at the FHA. A little different. This is 30-year. You're holding this loan for 30 years. So it's a little different. Okay. So as long as you have $3,500 for a $100,000 house, you can do it. Now, $100,000 house, you're not going to get great right now. Like, there's not much you're going to get with that. Now, $200,000. Now we're kind of talking. We can get the realms of living condition where you don't have to fix up a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Next requirement is going to be a 580 credit score. And I already just said, hey, 600 is not that great. This is why FHA is so cool. Because their requirement is only this. This is low. You probably have a couple missed payments and stuff. But the federal government is going to back you up, so the banks are cool with it. The bank would not loan this to you, I promise, at a 580. You ain't getting no $100,000 from no bank at a 580 credit score. Not going to happen. But because it's a federally backed program, now we have a little bit more access to this capital and more access to be able to buy a house. Can't do that with a car loan because the government doesn't give money out for cars. Does anybody know why? Depreciating asset. Houses go a lot longer than cars. Right? So if you buy a house, the government takes it back, it's actually worth something. And usually more. After 5-6 years, usually the house is worth more. Assuming you kept it up, right? But a car, 5 years later, that's an old freaking car. Nobody wants to buy that thing. The engine's wrecked, tires are shot, springs and the struts, everything's, you got into a couple accidents, there's a lot going on with the car after 5 years.
Yeah, I got a question. So
Yeah.
basically, how does that work if the longer the house been there, it's going to be worth more, but the longer
Typically, people make more money after a little bit more time, depending on the area that it's in.
Okay, but they both get old though. That's not the cars.
Well, houses, people want more houses. The longer you live, the more people that are on Earth. The more people that are on Earth, the less space there is really for the people. So prices go up as demand goes higher. Because there's only a certain amount of house you can buy. If we double the amount of people, you can't double the houses. So the house prices go up because there's more demand for them. So
Also, it takes more to base a car.
yeah, and they could just, cars be pumping, right? They just be making them in a factory somewhere. Cool. All right, next, that's actually the main two right there. As long as you have a 580 credit score, which if you follow the guidelines, heck, you should have that within, 6 months? Right? If you're working, could you save $3,500? I'd hope so. Maybe. That's like the hardest part for most people. Saving money. Saving money up for their goals. If you want to get a $200,000 house, you have to save up $7,000. That's the hardest part of the whole entire thing.
Taxes don't pay taxes, they pay taxes.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know if it's just me, or is it like what I have when I went
being smooth.
Yeah. And now you know you have it.
I haven't understood.
You have it, and you got to break that process in your mind of like, okay, I got it now.
Basically, no more snacks. Stop eating. Not buying snacks.
Okay. So let's talk about this. Okay, we got this house. We get this idea. And I want to teach you the trick here. I'm just going to teach it straight up front. There's this thing called house hacking. Okay. Most people buy a home that only they live in. But with that FHA loan, you can buy up to a 4-unit house. 4-unit house. I'm going to go back to our first illustration. 100. Let's say we bought 100. We want to buy this house for 150,000. It's ready to go. It is actually. We should just look it up for real. There is. So you guys can see what I'm looking at instead of just me anecdotally going through this. Let's just do multifamily houses.
Here, come here.
What is this, 100? Oh, it doesn't show it.
Actually, nice meeting you.
You don't get your, I got it from here.
What is this, 225? There we go. This is going to be good. This will be a great example. Because I bet these are, oh man. And these are done up. All right, check this out. So this is actually a ready to go house. Although quite ugly on the outside. On the inside, we got a little bit of somebody put a little work into this. This is actually a perfect example of this. So this is a 4-bed, 4-bath, 4-unit home. So there's 1 bed, 1 bath per unit.
So like you can like make it your own little apartment.
So you can live in one, rent the other 3 out. So this has been remodeled. This is good. This is actually what you would hope for, because they're going to do an inspection. They're going to make sure that it's livable. It won't be a fixer-upper house with the FHA loan. The electrical box looks new. This is a banger. Holy crap. Hey, if y'all out on live looking right there, it's 3453 Pennsylvania. Probably not the craziest neighborhood, but dang, 225,000.
I was paying over there. You gotta own this to do all that.
So you could buy this home, live in one, rent the other out, and your rents are going to be for a 1-bed, 1-bath. You're looking at like probably 5, 6, more than that, probably like 700-ish a month. So if you get rent all 3 of the units out for $700 a month, that's $2,100. $2,100. $2,100. Keep that number in your mind. Keep that in your mind. Keep that number in your mind. We're creating money. They are paying us as the owner, because we're renting the other 3 out, $2,100 a month. We bought this house. We'll say we get this thing for $225,000. What's 3.5% of this? 7/4 of that is 250, roughly 8,500. So we have $8,500 to pay for this house. Our monthly payments are going to be, let me calculate this. So 225,000. I'm going to use a mortgage calculator here.
7,874.
Oh, 7.8? That's even better.
You make $2K a month. So just letting people live in there. Plus you can work. Yeah.
Okay. The mortgage payment, watch this, I'll even show you that. I want you to see this. The mortgage payment. The mortgage payment. How much is that? $1,907 on a $225,000 house.
That's a cheap ass mortgage.
How much were we making on rent alone? How much profit are we making? $200 a month in profit, and we live there.
That's crazy.
And we live there.
Not rent, you live.
You live there. You have people paying you rent in the other 3 units. They're paying you enough to pay for your house. You're living rent free.
So basically,
You're living rent free. And you own it.
I'm glad I got this class. I could really get a
Okay. I needed everybody to see that moment. This was good. This is actually a real life example. This could really happen.
Let's start buying.
So if you're okay with living a little bit in the hood-ish,
I ain't gonna lie, that's something I can't do.
I mean, it's not the greatest area,
That's the nicest hood house I've ever seen.
but
I can't live in the night. How's the area? Like the entire area?
it's like, well, we're not going to talk about this on live, but it's there. It's over here on the south side, over on Pennsylvania, and like, what is that?
What's the inside looking like though?
It's looking nice. Like,
It got
nice as hell.
The floors look real.
Yeah, this is decent.
Oh, it's one of those houses where they like buy it and like
Bought it and flipped it, and somebody's selling his mug. It's a 4-unit, one bed, 1 bath. I mean,
and it comes with the stove and fridge.
yeah.
They're like outside and stuff.
And then you'll rent the others out, right? $700 a month. As long as you get some good renters in there, they're paying you monthly, and you're not having to pay anything. You're actually making money off this.
Don't tell me you listen to it.
Okay. I'm going back to the whiteboard. Now you see it. So look, if you had $8,500 to buy this house, you would live rent free. Listen, just you gotta wrap your head around this. You're living for free, and you make money.
you can ask your family members for a loan to buy the house and then rent the house out to them.
You just went real deep. That was good.
A loan to rent it and it
Yes, and you actually can do that. That is legal. That is actually legal. You have to show that they have the money ready to pay it for it. Yes.
We need to live one in a room. We just have all 4 houses for renting. So you make more.
Well, you can't. You got to live in one. You got to live in one. You can't just. That's where the government gets you. That's where you got to live in one. You got to live in one.
and you can make the rent cheaper.
Okay.
So they want to live cheaper.
So, as long as that is owner occupied, this is a FHA loan. These are owner occupied, so you have to live there. You're making money, $200 every single month, which could probably pay for your electricity bill, right? So now you're really like, only thing you might be paying is water and for your food. That's you. This is in college. Imagine.
Then again,
Imagine.
if something ever happens to break it, then you have to fix it as you do.
That's all you. That's on you. Yep. You're the man. Or you just take that $200, you save it up for occurrences like that could happen.
I ain't gonna lie, if you didn't buy none of this, if you lived in that house for 10 years and they paid you would make 24.
So if you were to live in a house just like this, let's find one real quick, just so I kind of see what the rents are over here.
I'm gonna start like,
Retail?
real estate. I mean, real estate.
Apply
That's a smart ass business.
1 bed, 1 bath.
Stop making people that not dirty. I can't live in no dirty person.
Let's look in the same. Let's look in the same area, right?
Y'all see, you get one chance. Out the window. That's how sure I am. One chance. I will. If it's a bug, you gotta go. I ain't gonna lie. If it's a bug, you gotta go. If
You see something
walk
crawl,
outside snow, you gotta go.
Pennsylvania. Here we are. 1 bed, 1 bath. You know what, guys? I'm sorry. The normal rents is $830.
Oh, we can't overcharge it. I'll do like 9.
Yeah, the normal rent is $830. So 700 was an undercut. We were selling ourselves short.
Like, why do they want so less than the inside?
Because
These are $830 a month,
That's the rent.
and this is in the same area.
That's the rent.
$830. So I'm sorry, I undercut myself and you guys by $130 more a month
Living in a good house.
per 3.
houses.
So this is $600 profit come to you every month.
But you also gotta think about the license stuff. How much would that take up?
Nothing. No. They pay for that. They pay their own electric. They pay their own. They pay their own water.
Do is pay for the rent.
You pay for your own electric. You pay for your own water.
That's maybe
So you're making roughly $600 to $800 of pure profit every single month, and you live for free because you're living there. Man, nobody knows about this. Nobody knows about this because they don't do it young enough. They wait till they have like 4 or 5 kids and then they try to do this. And now they need a 3-bed, 2-bath. You can't buy a 4-unit apartment complex with 3-bed, 2-bath.
You can have how many ever rooms you want. Technically, how many bedrooms you want. Because you can put a bed anywhere.
No, there's legal bedrooms. So a bedroom is qualified as a room of itself that has a closet.
A bed in the closet.
Yeah, you can't just like cut a room in half with a curtain and say there's another bedroom. Okay, I'm glad you've seen this. This is good. A lot of people don't see why house hacking is so powerful. Also, now with that mortgage payment, they were expecting you to be able to pay that $1,900 a month. So the mortgage is expecting you to be able to pay for this. Typically, it's about 1/4 of your actual income has to be enough to cover this payment. So roughly $8,000 a month is what you would have to make to be able to afford a home like this. So what is that in a yearly? $8,000 a month.
for a year.
Yeah, how much is that in a year? So you'd have to make
96. Less than 100,000. 96,000.
Yeah, $96,000 a year would say that you could technically afford this. Technically. Technically speaking, you had to make $96,000 to be able to afford this. But the bank knows, and assuming if they're already being rented out already, you would use the rent to cover what income that you don't have. That's why this is so powerful. Because usually a person with your income, let's say you come out of college or you're just starting out and you're making a little like $20 an hour. $20 an hour equates to about $42,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But with these rents showing and them paying you, you know, that, what was it, $2,400 a month? That would supersede how much that you would actually have to make. Because they're going to look at the total income. Can you afford this? And you can at a minimum wage job plus the rents that are coming in. You can afford that, and that's what they will allow you to take that into consideration. Because you're technically going to be making $2,400 more per month because of rents. So your income, although you're actually making this, it looks like you're making this plus these per month. What's $2,400 per month times 12?
You said 20, what?
2,400? I should be able to do this in my head. 24, 48. 28 something, 28.5 maybe, 28
2,400 times 12.
times 12.
2,880.
2880. So your actual income looks like 70,000. And you're only really making $20 an hour. So you look like you're out here killing it. because of this home that you're trying to purchase. House hacking. This is the biggest, greatest gem that you can learn about here in the St. Louis area. These houses are crazy cheap. Crazy cheap. Comparably, like that same $225,000 home, if that was in DC, or if that was in Chicago, well, probably not Texas, probably about the same in Texas actually. If it was in any other major metro, like a Dallas, Fort Worth, like major metro, definitely LA. I mean, this would be like a $2.5 million home in LA. That is no joke. Same amount of space. It would be stupid. Yeah. But also they're getting rents for like $2,000 a month per unit. So that would have been like $6,000 or more income to look like. This is huge here in St. Louis. So you can actually do this at 18. Now, the hardest part about this 18-year-old thing is that you have to be able to show that you've been working for 2 years. FHA, the third and final requirement is that you must be able to have 2 years of taxes. So let's say you started working at 16 years old. This will be perfect. If you can show that you have been consistently working for 2 straight years and you still have a job now, by the time you turn 18, you can actually begin house hacking. Buy a 4-unit property, and now you're owner of this 4-unit home.
Excuse us, Mr. Shea.
What's up?
I'm having a technical.
Pause in the live. Go for it.
I'm sorry. I've added him to my teams. He can't see the assignment.
Did you restart it?
Yeah.
The whole computer?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the app. He's on the Microsoft.
Online?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, what's up with your card?
You can't see it right now.
Yeah, like he goes to assignments, I can't see him.
That's weird, because you're showing up, right?
Yeah, and then I have it set to where any new students added, they'll be able to see any, previous.
Current and new? You did on the assignment, you went to the assignment and said current and new on that assignment specifically?
Yep, on the assignment.
Oh, you can't see anything.
Yeah. It's just on his class.
Yeah, so. Said
Wow.
Miss Cindy? It's Friday.
No, let me come and see yours too.
Okay.
I'll have to go check yours too. I don't know, that's weird. That is really strange.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Yeah, I'll be down in like 10 minutes. Cool. So 2 years of taxes, 580 credit score, and a 3.5% down payment. Oh. All right, we're almost finished up. So this is for an FHA loan. As long as you have 2 years of taxes, 580 credit score, 3.5% down payment, you can actually purchase any home. I think there's like a certain number that a threshold, I forgot what that threshold is. If it's $1 million, I forgot exactly what that is. But there might be a threshold. There's one more program. This one's a game changer as well. A lot harder to get into. You got to go through credit counseling and all this stuff. And this thing is called NACA, NACA. The only difference in NACA and FHA is that you have a 0 down payment. 0 down payment. And it is crazy. So instead of a down payment, what they do is they say, hey, let's do your down payment towards your lowering your interest rate. You can still buy the 4-family home. And let's say that your normal interest is like a 7, 8% interest, you could pay that $8,000 towards your interest. And let's say that it makes your payment go down like 2%. 5% interest over the same thing. I'll show you, I'll give you an example. So we're paying right now $1,900 for that $225,000 home. If I take that interest down to 5%, it's only 2 percentage points, my monthly payment goes down by $300. So we're paying, instead of $1,900, and I go down from 7% to 5%, my now new payments is $1,600. And I rent it out, I make the same amount of rent. I'm actually, if I use that down payment towards my interest, I'm actually saving in $300 extra more dollars per month. That's $300 more dollars you can do whatever with. Like if that's a car note that you want to get, if that, like whatever you got to buy, that's a pretty decent car for $300 a month, actually. That's huge. And this goes over the lifetime of the loan. Cool. That's actually it. So I don't know if that was interesting to you guys. Give that like, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. This is something that interests you whatsoever. We're talking about credit score. We're talking about buying a home. I just showed you 2 different ways of doing it with the FHA and the NACA loan. 2 different types. They're all, NACA is a little bit harder to get in through because you got to do the credit counseling and all that good stuff. FHA is kind of hard just purely because of the 2 years, how much money you got to have to put down is really difficult for most people, but that's okay. But 2 different payments, same exact house though. You can still go for those house hacking is the most important part. And I think that every single person should do it, especially before they get married, especially before they start having relations and whatever else that you do. This is the easiest and best way to start your life off. If you don't have rent, if you don't have to pay for electricity and water, like your basic housing expenses, which is the biggest expense that you have as an adult, there's so much more you could do. Imagine what you could do with an extra $1,600 a month. Imagine what you could do with an extra $1,900 every single month. Like, as we talked before, that's time. How long does it take you to make $2,000? That's time you didn't have to work to make the same amount. So that's very important. That's huge. You're getting your time back. Getting your time back early as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22-year-old. Imagine after about 2 years of this, you find another home that you want. A little bit bigger. You find your little townhouse that's a 6'6", and it's a $500,000 home or $600,000 home. You probably should be making more money by now. You got your college degree, you got a little bit more money going in. You're making $90,000 to $100,000. You refinance this house. You rent out that other room that you were living in. Then you go and live in a 2-2 or a 3-3. Rent out the other side. Rinse and repeat. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I'm Michael Shear. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Oh yeah, that was good. Good?